I'm your host, Davida Shinsky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits, Dreams Come True with the Right Mindset. And today's show is titled Healthy, Harmonious Love, 7 Relationship Tools to Keep in Your Pocket. For one thing, your mental health affects your relationships, and relationships have to be worked on. Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that there's not going to be problems, because you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with each other's different experiences when you're apart, and so many things in the outside world that affect the relationship you have. And remember this: what you want in your 20s in a relationship is very different than what you want in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. At different points in your life, you want different things from a relationship. And for a relationship to be long lasting, you have to work at it. So, if you want to enjoy a healthy, harmonious love and relationship, it takes effort. Those who enjoy what they consider fulfilling, peaceful relationships will tell you that their relationship didn't just automatically become wonderful. They worked at it, and most likely they still do regularly. Not everyone learns effective relationship or relating skills growing up, from communication to conflict resolution to giving and receiving. Some people need some help in learning and practicing such skills. So the following are 7 relationship tools that you can learn to keep handy so that your relationship can thrive. So 7 tools to help your relationship thrive. Number 1, respect one another regardless of what goes on in a relationship. Committing to respecting each other is of utmost importance, even when you're engaged in some sort of conflict. You can still have and show respect for each other. Make respect and honor a daily habit. When you wake up in the morning, make a fresh commitment to show respect no matter what unfolds that day. You know how you enjoy being honored and respected. Now, think of how your respect will bless your partner. This doesn't take, and it doesn't mean that you'll never have a moment where you're not walking in love. If you get snippy or out of line, immediately ask for forgiveness from your heart. This can help your relationship keep sailing smoothly and deepen your bond. Now, many years ago, back in the 20th century, especially through the 1950s, women married men for support, and they didn't have to show each other respect, and demanded it from their parents, or rather from their children. And you know, one thing that happened to me over the years was I grew up in a home that was very dysfunctional. My parents' marriage simply worked because my mother wanted financial security and my father needed someone who could cook and be a hostess at dinner parties. And that was the total be all and end all of their relationship. My mother physically, or rather, my mother emotionally and verbally abused, and my father physically abused. Now, he didn't pick up a hand to my mother, but he did to his children. And because of that, none of us ever married. And you don't realize that In a relationship, it's not just about love and it's not just about companionship. It's about respecting each other's feelings about certain situations. And I can tell you that one of the reasons I never married was because it would have been very easy for me to end up in a relationship that was like the one I had with my father. And I knew I never wanted that. And even though I studied psychology and mental health, it didn't mean that I wasn't going to end up with someone that was that comfort zone. And at this point in my life, I've been alone so much and I've been so independent that I don't know that anything would have been different. But I do know this: growing up with a disability in that era, I was basically bullied and shunned in a lot of ways simply because I was different, and people with disabilities at that time were not accepted and didn't have the right to an education. So they really didn't understand what a disability was, where it came from, or how you could get it. Effective communication skills. Communication is key to a relationship. How do you and your partner communicate? Do you think there's room for employment, or rather improvement? The good news about communicating is that you can learn skills to improve the way you communicate. If you're usually hesitant about voicing your concerns out of fear, you can learn to overcome the fear and understand that what you want and need matters very much. If you and your partner get into an argument that get out of control, you can learn to diffuse them before this occurs. You can learn to be better listeners and share from the heart. You can also unlearn behaviors that aren't healthy, like stonewalling, projecting, name calling, screaming, and so on. If you can't tackle this on your own, consider getting a therapist that can help you out. It's worth the investment because it can take you and your relationship to a whole new level. This is why do not just look for a life coach, but look for a licensed marriage and family therapist, because they basically have a counseling background and they know the right things to say. And in fact, what a coach does and what a therapist does are two different things. And understanding that is so important. That's why I happen to have been invited to be a life coach or a coach on a site called balk.com. And to join it is free, but to but then as the therapist, you have to upgrade and buy credits so that you can submit for people who might fit what you are serving. Here's the kicker: that it's not just you submitting, it's them getting 5 submissions, and some of them having issues like that are serious mental health issues that a life coach doesn't really understand or know how to deal with. Plus, if they're often saying insurance is going to pay for it, well, guess what? An insurance isn't going to pay for a certified life coach, but they will pay for a licensed psychotherapist or marriage and family therapist. So understand what you're doing and understanding that who can help you, because you may not have a real good connection with the first licensed marriage and family therapist that you talk to, but it may be the third or fourth person that you talk to. So that's why it's often important that you do shop around even for psychotherapists who can help you in improving your relationships. 3, forgiveness. There will be plenty of opportunities to forgive one another in your relationship. Make the decision now to do so. Even if you don't feel like it, you can choose to forgive your mate and let it go. This doesn't mean that you condone unhealthy behavior. You should have firm boundaries surrounding them. However, if you or your partner say or do something that hurts the other and are genuinely sorry and apologize, then decide to forgive and let go. It will serve your relationship well. 4, be teammates. It's easy to get into a rut in relationships where you start thinking of each other as opponents. Remember and remind yourself, each other, or rather that often you are both teammates. You're on the same side. When you can face life together as a team, life can feel so much lighter. You'll have more courage. If you haven't told your partner lately that you're glad that you're on the same team, let them know. They'll appreciate it. 5, spend quality time with each other. Have you ever gauged just how much quality time you and your partner are spending together? In the beginning of a relationship, it's easy to spend almost all your time together. The relationship is new. You're falling in love. And every moment that you spend together feels like magic. However, over the years, many couples spend less and less time together and grow apart. This is especially common for families that have children, as the children tend to take up most of the time. If you want your relationship to thrive, you'll have to navigate your time together and be sure that some of that time is quality. Sitting on the couch or laying in the bed at night while both of you are on your iPhones is not communicating with each other, and it is not quality time. There are many ways that you can incorporate quality time into your life. Maybe you can commit to a date night every week or a couple's time a month. Perhaps you can get out in the community together and try out some new hobbies. Have technology-free nights and just talk or play games. Do a couples course together or read a relationship book. You might even want to go to a couples retreat once a year. Have, have a discussion with your partner about how you'd like to spend quality time together regularly, and make a list and keep it handy so you don't forget. Remember this, relationships take time, and you do need to spend time with each other if you expect to stay on the same page in a relationship, because there's so much information out there. And not only that, but you're pulled in different directions. And even though you may have a solid relationship, if it's not worked on, it's going to create problems. You know, we all talk about, or you see a big divorce rate among entertainers. Well, that's because one or the other is spending so much time apart where they're going on location to film that it does affect the relationship. And remember this, if one person is dominant in the relationship, the other person is going to have and feel sub, subversive. And what's going to happen is along the way, what they want changes. So love unconditionally, or rather, 6, love unconditionally. To love unconditionally means that you love without conditions. If you want your relationship to thrive, commit to loving your partner unconditionally and asking them to do the same. This doesn't mean that you condone unhealthy behaviors. What it means is that you, no matter what you go through individually and as a couple, that you both give and receive love. Think of it like this. If you have a child, they say and do things that upset you sometimes, yet you love them unconditionally and you want them to know that. In the same way, you, your partner will say and do things that upset you, irk you, and scare you. They may even hurt you. Work through the issues and remember that you've committed to love them unconditionally. 7, surprise them. Every now and then, surprise your partner with a token of love and appreciation. The couple, and this could be a compliment, a small gift, fresh flowers picked from your yard, a romantic date, spontaneous getaway, and so on. You'd be surprised at how generosity and tokens of appreciation have relationships to be a new level. Just think about how you like to be surprised with love and gratitude. If your partner never does this and it's important for you, let them know. You can even give them ideas if they're not the best at knowing how to show appreciation this way. Remember this. What is Valentine's Day all about? It's about couples appreciating each other and doing something for one another. What happens on a birthday? It's like when it comes to your child, you're giving them a birthday party. Well, why not do something special for your partner and make them feel as though they're appreciated? Harmonious love and relationships take work, but they are worth the effort. No matter where your relationship is at right now, you can improve it. Take these relationship tools into consideration and keep them handy. May your relationship thrive on all levels. And the last thing that I want to talk about here is this, that we all have different behavior patterns, and how we communicate is in those behavior patterns. And just learn to read your spouse's body language, and then you'll know when they're feeling up or down, and try to be supportive and encouraging in those times, because that's one of the best ways to help keep your relationship strong.